have a temporary health problem.
So this form of insurance is there to protect third parties, parties off of the site who might be damaged or injured in any manner, essentially, from a discharge from the facility. What kind of levels are we talking about? What level of protection are we looking at asking for the operator to provide for us in this area of environmental impairment?
Well, from a dollar standpoint, the commission with the facility that you're operating, minimum level should be $10 million. I hesitate to recommend a specific level because the insurance market will respond at different points in time with different limits of liability. What the commission needs to consider is the amount of insurance that is reasonably and availably affordable.
Okay. What happens if the commercial market dries up and there isn't commercial insurance available? Can the commission require something else that gives the public that same level of protection?
There are other alternatives besides insurance. One of them could be a self-retention program. You can generate funds through an emergency fund from the fee schedule. You can look to the industry itself to form an association or pool to respond to these claims.
Mm-hmm. We've been talking about insurance for the facility so far, Joe. We hear questions from the public frequently about what kind of insurance is required of the transporter who is hauling hazardous waste to the facility. Give us some idea of those kinds of insurance and if there is any equal to this environmental impairment insurance that they must maintain.
All right. Well, most of the transporters it's going to be a commercial operation. This is what they do for their business. And it's going to come under the automobile coverage. Obviously, they're going to be required by law to carry certain limits of automobile coverage for the commercial fleet. If they're transporting hazardous waste, you want to either on their automobile coverage or the commercial auto endorse environmental impairment onto that policy, or you want to have them to have a shippers and transporters policy, which will respond to those incidents where you have contamination, either a spillage or an accident, and you have hazardous waste involved.
Okay. So is there some sort of minimum level of insurance that's required for a transporter to haul hazardous waste?
I don't know that there's necessarily a minimum limit. However, the companies that are in business to do this are working with their agents, with their insurance agents and the companies that are insuring them, and they're going to be financially prudent in the amount of insurance they carry.
Okay.
Normally on a commercial auto, you will see as a minimum limit $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the area of contractors hauling hazardous waste, that limit will be higher.
We hear routinely numbers like $1 to $5 million, depending on the type and the amount of waste that they haul.
Correct.
Something in that range, I assume, is what you're describing.
Yes, and it all depends on the type of waste the contract hauler is carrying.
Okay.
If an individual is carrying asbestos, it's type of hazardous waste versus one that is carrying a corrosive or flammable liquid.
Okay. Joe, in addition to that, you and I have talked a couple of times about this, and not only does the transporter's insurance come into play, but if there was an accident and it was so large that the transporter's insurance was exhausted in cleaning up a spill or the damage that was associated, you and I have talked about going back to the generator. You want to mention something about that?
All right. The hazardous waste, the liability belongs to the generator from cradle to grave, so to speak. In the event that you exhaust the limits, the insurance limits of one carrier, the order of response, first of all, is going to be the contract hauler. Then it's going to go back to the generator. Then after that, the commission, I think, has some reserve funds set aside to respond to emergencies. Once you go beyond that, you may want to look to the state to respond, and in ultimate liability, eventually the federal government will step in and
clean up for Superfund.
And clean up under Superfund, and then try to go back to either the industry or the generator to recover.
Yeah.
But that incident or the occurrence that you're addressing, action will be taken and it will be cleaned up.
Okay. Joe, we really appreciate your help. The Commission has really appreciated it in the past. Thanks for helping us so that the citizens understand insurance better tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Welcome back to the call-in portion of our special on hazardous waste management facility in North Carolina. We're here tonight to bring you an update on the siting activities of the Hazardous Waste Management Commission. We'd like to hear from you. Our number is 919-733-6341. You're welcome to call us collect or direct to participate in tonight's discussion about selecting a hazardous waste management facility in North Carolina. Again, that number is 919-733-6341. The 26 counties which the state's commission is considering for sites for the hazardous waste management facility are Alamance, Cabarrus, Caswell, Chatham, Davidson, Davie, Durham, Forsyth, Franklin, Granville, Guilford, Harnett, Iredell, Johnston, Mecklenburg, Orange, Person, Randolph, Rockingham, Rowan, Stanley, Stokes, Surrey, Union, Wake, and Yadkin, obviously in alphabetical order and not necessarily in order of precedence for consideration. We welcome calls from people in those counties if they have questions or comments about the hazardous waste management facility in North Carolina, and obviously we welcome calls for anyone else who's out there watching us this evening. Here to talk with you are Professor Al Turner, Chairman of the Hazardous Waste Management Commission and a Professor of Environmental Science at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Professor Trenton Davis, a member of the Hazardous Waste Management Commission and a Professor of Environmental Health Science at East Carolina University. And Darrell Hinnant, Executive Director of the Hazardous Waste Management Commission. Again, gentlemen, thanks. Let's continue with our discussion. We have a call. First one at this time is from Charlotte. Charlotte, go ahead, please.
Yes, good evening. First a comment, then a question.
All right.
First of all, sir, representing the commission, as a father of two small daughters and a lovely wife, I'm really appalled by your tape that you just showed the public. I think I'm sitting here with a group of 5 professional couples ranging from attorney to physician, and we're concerned that you would show this tape, equivalent life to dollars and cents on what you're willing to do. If I lose my daughter, sir, due to an accident, there's not enough money that you or your commission or enough insurance that you will carry that will make up for the loss of their lives. And for here the gentleman to say if they accidentally breathe some air and have a temporary health problem, that's a facade, and you're a disgrace to the commission, sir.
All right, let me interrupt you. Let me interrupt you just a minute. Let me interrupt you.
Are you aware?
Let me interrupt you just a minute. I'd like to keep personal characterizations out of this, and now go ahead with your
question. Let me ask him a question then. Are you aware that in the United States of America, in Charlotte, Mecklenburg, the largest nuclear facility with the largest population surrounding it has no emergency evacuation procedure if we would have a meltdown at 1 a.m. in the morning, 2 a.m. in the morning, 3 a.m. in the morning. We have no way of learning the people. We could die in our sleep, sir, and that's something that your commission, how do you plan on addressing that and the waste that, how do you equivalent life with dollars and cents on the amount of insurance money carried?
Okay, I don't think anyone was trying to make that equivalency, and let me point out that we're talking about the hazardous waste management facility that is to be built and not about a nuclear facility that may currently be in your community over which we have no expertise this evening. Now let me move along and see if we...
But the tape did say they were ultimately responsible for the waste, and the commission is responsible for that, so how does he feel about that?
Okay, I'm simply saying we can't address a question of a nuclear facility in your community because this commission does not deal with that. Let me now see if I can get a response to your concern.
But they do deal with waste.
Let me see if I can get a response. Go ahead.
Yes, we do deal with chemical waste, chemical hazardous waste.
Go ahead.
And I agree with you. You couldn't put a dollar amount on the life of my child either. But I try to do that all the time when I take insurance for my car. And when I was transporting my children to school, to the playground, even though I realized that no amount of money that they could pay me would compensate for the life of a child, we still do that, and we do it we do it in other ways. We take insurance, fire insurance on our house. If our children were burned, no amount of money would compensate for that. But we still do the best we can, and that's what we try to do with insurance. We certainly, I don't believe, certainly I don't think that you could set a dollar figure on the life of a child, and I don't believe my colleagues would.
All right, specifically now relating that to this hazardous waste management facility and the question of insurance, if you will.
First of all, there are many insurance requirements that are established by state law and by federal law. Certainly, part of that insurance is to compensate anyone who might be hurt or to recover any portion of the environment that might be damaged. Whether that compensation would ever be enough, we're not sure. But we are certainly talking about, as the viewer must have seen on the short tape, we're talking about large amounts of insurance. We accept risk every day. We try to deal with those the best way we can, and certainly I don't envision that there would ever be a catastrophic accident at a small incinerator facility such as this. This is not like a nuclear power plant, so that I can't imagine. I think Professor Davis has made an interesting comment early in the evening. Frankly, I would be much more concerned about a tanker full of gasoline and the damage it could do than this facility, and I'm being very honest about that.
All right, we have another call panel. This one is from Concord. Concord, go ahead, you're with us.
Yes, thank you. I would like the panel to please give me some information. I just read in our paper yesterday where Cabarrus County will learn by May 1st if we're going to be one of 2 sites that are being considered for the hazardous waste incinerator.
All right.
I wonder if someone could give me some information as far as to, do we here in Cabarrus County get a chance to meet with these people personally and find out more about this? This is quite a bit of news to me.
All right, let's talk about the public hearings that have been held and then those that are to come.
The
Trent?
public hearings that have been held, the 12 dealt with the rules and the criteria for signing the facility. But the statute creating the commission has a lot of requirements that deal with working with the community selected. In fact, there are funds to aid the communities in developing review committees, and we will be involved with discussions in the community. So there will be ample opportunity for the 2 candidates selected to be involved in discussions with us and others as we work toward the resolution of the siting and so forth.
And those hearings will be open to the public, callers like the one
Sure.
we have on the phone.
And in fact, the commission has already mailed materials out to in several of the counties, and maybe all of them. I haven't had a chance to learn. Information to commissioners, to emergency response people, the directors of public health, providing them with some upfront information about the process and where we are.
All right, Darryl?
Let me, oh, I'm
Excuse
sorry,
me, Al, go
Darryl.
ahead.
Let me make a comment about that, if I may, Layla. All of the records of the commission, including everything, all the procedures that have been established, and all of the criteria, are public record, and these are all available to any citizen of North Carolina at our office, or they can call us, and later on in the program we'll give them our toll-free number. Any citizen is welcome to call us, and we'll be glad to send information to them. Obviously, there has to be a limitation on that. For instance, if you wanted to see the proposal from one of our contractors, it's in many, many volumes, and it would stack 5 feet high.
Bring a truck.
But we'd be delighted to share information. It is public information, and anyone who wants to see it is welcome to see it.
All right, Darryl, a comment?
I was going to say that information, just as Dr. Davis had just said, has been mailed to the county manager, the county health director in Cabarrus County. There is plenty of information available. If you'll just contact those professionals, I think you'll find that there's already information in your county.
All right, thank you for calling. I hope we addressed your question this evening.
Thank you.
We have another call. This one is from Eden. Eden, go ahead. We have you.
Yes, I was wondering, I came in a little late, what type of hazardous waste are we talking about? Is it life-threatening? And if so, what type of precautions? If it's not, what type of economical outlook is the county that gets chosen looking at as far as being a local business owner? How will it affect me?
All right, gentlemen.
I hope this will answer the question of our caller. The waste that we will be treating are the very same chemicals that are being used in our industries and manufacturing plants across the state every day. The very same chemicals. They become a waste when they have served their intended purpose and they're thrown away. So the very same chemicals that we'll be treating at this facility are the ones that workers are using every day in our industries across the state. None of these are exotic to the extent that we brought something in that is so different from anything that we don't see on a day-to-day basis. These are everyday chemicals that are used in industry and are no longer needed or used.
All right, and ask me again your question about the economic consideration to you. I'm not sure I understood the point of your question, sir.
If, say, Rockingham is chosen as the site
Right.
for the hazardous waste management system, what type of economical, trying to think of the correct phrasing,
You
how
say-
is it going to help the economy of this county?
Are you saying would it help or hurt the
Economic
economy of your
Right.
county? Okay, gentlemen?
There are several benefits that have been described by the statute that formed the Hazardous Waste Management Commission. For example, the local community gets 2.5% gross of the receipts that is generated by the facility. There are a lot of other things that would be paid to the local community. We envision that there may be as many as 150 jobs at the facility. The construction cost alone is estimated to be anywhere from $45 to $75 million, depending upon the proposal that you look at. So in that range, we expect a lot of that money to be spent in the local community. I don't know how that would affect your business because I don't know what your business is, but in terms of detrimental effects, we would envision minimal detrimental effects to you or to anyone in your community because of the health and safety provisions that are required in the permitting process.
All right, did we answer your question fully, sir?
Yes, and what I don't understand is if there's no danger, why are all these people getting so bent out of shape over it? I mean, it seems like a great thing to happen to any community as far as economically, and if it's not a health hazard, then, you know, why are so many people getting upset?
That's probably the crux of this whole series. Why are people upset?
I agree with you entirely. That is the bottom line in the whole dilemma, the bottom line in the problem. And that is that across the state in North Carolina every day, most of our industries that generate hazardous waste treat it on their own property. They never ship it off-site. It will never come to the facility that we're constructing. They treat it all the time. It is unlikely that there isn't at least one company in every community across the state that isn't treating hazardous waste every day. The hazardous waste they're treating are the chemicals that they use in their manufacturing processes every day, whether they are paint solvents or paints, or whether they are other chemicals that are used to manufacture goods. There is nothing exotic in that sense. So these are the same chemicals, and hazardous waste is being treated in every community across the state every day.
Dr. Turner, I'd like
Yes,
to add.
please do.
We have 5 operating hazardous waste incinerators in North Carolina. Those are what we call captive facilities. They operate at that plant to serve the need of that particular plant. Now, these companies are very large industries, very well-respected industries in our state, and they have hundreds and literally thousands of employees at those facilities, and they're not being harmed by the operations of those facilities. It is only the impression that a commercial facility would harm someone, yet we provide the same level of protection and maybe even additional protections for a commercial facility we don't necessarily provide for that captive facility. So that captive facility says we can operate them safely. And we believe that that's the case because we'll have even more protections on this facility.
All right, did we answer your question this time?
Yes, thank you very much.
All right, thank you for calling us. Our next call is from Salisbury. Salisbury, go ahead.